Welcome to the new episode of Delta Doctrines. Today, I will just go slightly beyond national security and look into the judiciary problem, which obviously is one of the pillars of our democracy. But it seems that there are certain challenges and that can impact the national security, more of a net security from the judiciary standpoint. And so, I will cover the following things. One aspect I will cover was the case reversal. Like I will give an example. Like we have seen that High Court has uh, provided some verdict, and when it goes to Supreme Court, it get reversed. We also have seen that a single bench judge in Supreme Court has given some verdict, but when it goes to three bench judge, it get reversed. So the problem of reversal, is there a problem in the competency of judge or the interpretation of the law across the different spectrum of judiciary? So that we will try to see why that high volume of case reversal, right? So that we'll look at it. The second problem we'll look is the number of pending court cases, uh, and I will compare it with US vis-a-vis India, and also the per year number of court cases that are filed across India, different courts, right? And compare it with the US, right? What is the different why we are seeing, right? That's the second item we'll cover. Then average time taken to close a case in India vis-a-vis US. So again, I will compare these two things and try to see whether the number of judges per million of people in India is uh, is enough to handle the volume of the court cases that are filed. And obviously, finally, I will provide the recommendations. So I am not a legal, to be honest. So these recommendation I have consolidated from multiple sources. Daksh is one source who has done extensively. This organization has done extensively work in legal side, and I will also try to bring in some other recommendation which has been provided by many legal experts. Obviously, I have a different prism and I have a different lens to see those recommendations, and I have kind of curated those recommendations. So let's dive into the overall thing. So if you see the overall reversal of cases, right, from starting from the trial courts to high courts or the subordinate courts to high courts to Supreme Courts, it's astounding figure. I was thinking that how could this be a possibility? Like 55 percentage of our court cases are reversed across the spectrum of our courts. Like for example, I have filed a court case in trial court, and when I go to the next level of court, I apply into the high court or maybe next court, it get reversed, right? So the probability is almost 55%. So we have to understand why this is a problem. So if my court, the trial court, gives some verdict and I don't agree on that verdict, and I go to the next higher court, and the percentage or the probability of the case being reversed or the verdict being reversed is almost 55% or 0.55. So this is astounding, more than 50%. So this is a figure which actually always a mind-boggling number that actually kept me pursuing why this has happened. Let us deep dive into the data. If you see the overall national reversal statistic from 2019 to 2023, so we have seen that in 2019 we have almost 6.1 lakh cases across India, across all courts. Our reversal is rate is 55%, then 53%, 52%. In 2023, it is 56%. So the reversal is actually 52, 55, 50, 52 to 56%, more than 50%. Why this is so? Why one in every two cases are getting reversed, the verdict being reversed? Now, when I deep dive into the different type of cases, criminal versus civil outcomes, criminal appeal demonstrate a reversal rate of 58 to 61%. So criminal cases, we see a larger proportion of reversal compared to the civil cases, which are around 45 to 50%. Now, why it is happening. Serious IPC NDPS cases account for highest acquittal rates, indicating investigative and evidentiary shortcomings. So at the trial courts, the way they perceive the investigative and evidentiary trials, probably those are error, and which get rectified in the upper court. So that is probably will go to the recommendation, but at least this is one of the issue which actually kind of increasing the number. Now, if you go to the high court to district level patterns, right? If I go to high court to district level pattern, high courts such as Allahabad, Patna, Rajasthan, and Calcutta consistently show reversal rates above the national average. So it signifies that West Bengal or UP or Bihar, Rajasthan, the trial courts of those regions are not performing well. That's the core message, that this this is the, because it is above the national average. Obviously, across India this is a problem, but these are the areas where the average or the average reversal is much above the average of the national reversal, right? This is a problem, right? Now let's go to the okay. Let's go to the why this entire thing we are seeing, like the key findings what we see. So high court reversal rates do not reflect judicial failure, what I have seen, but highlight the High Court's constitutional role as error correcting institution. The finding underscored the urgent need of police reform, better prosecution standard, and strengthening of trial courts. So we have seen that trial courts in the trial courts area, we need a more much uh, robust police reforms, evidence how to manage the evidence as per the chain of commands as per the Evidence Act and all those things, better prosecution standard that is missing in India, and strengthening of trial courts, right? Uh, Finding number two, the 5-year analysis confirms that more than half of the lower court decision failed to withstand appellate scrutiny. So what we are seeing, like more than 50%. Judicial reform effort must therefore focus on upstream processes, investigation, prosecution, and trial procedure rather than appellate courts. So we are not the recommendation is not to reform the appellate courts, but to reform lower down the appellate courts, right? How to uh, like how the focus of the entire reform should shift to upstream processes, investigation, prosecution, and trial procedure. That's what the recommendation is. Now, when we go from trial court to high court, and now we are going from high court to Supreme Court, right? Number of cases of high court being reversed by Supreme Court. What we are seeing, around 19.6 cases of high court has been reversed by Supreme Court. So this is the data. The average is 19.6 from 2019 to 2023. The 2023 is around 21.2 to 22. So it is increasing. Those number of reversal of high court verdict order is getting reversed in Supreme Court, right? So that's and what is the criminal versus civil outcome? Criminal appeals reversal rate is approximately 20 to 23%. Civil appellate is 16 to 18%. So here also we are seeing from High Court to Supreme Court the percentage of percentage of criminal appeals being reversed in Supreme Court, which was actually given by High Courts, and obviously it actually uh, um, uh, follow the same principle. The criminal court, criminal cases are the area where lot of focus, lot of reform has to be done. The proceedings, the trial proceeding, evidence collection, all those things compared to the civil cases, right? High court wise pattern. Which high courts we are seeing a problem? High courts with largest volume of Supreme Court reversal include Allahabad, Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, Punjab, and Haryana. So these are the high courts which are getting lot of reversal by Supreme Court. Obviously, when we dive into into the reason, when we did that analysis, what we found that it is not due to the judicial quality. So the judicial quality is a problem in the trial court. So trial courts understanding of the interpretation of the law and also the proceeding is not that good, right? So we need a training in trial court judges for the trial court judges, but we don't see that in high court. The high court reversal is because of mostly because of um, uh, what I will call is statutory interpretation, the constitutional interpretation. Like when a court, when a case comes to high court, what it means on the statutory term. It's not the standard IPC or standard rules or legal laws, but it is primarily on the statutory side and constitutional side. So probably High Court judges needs to be have more robust understanding of the interpretation of law on the constitutional side or on the statutory side. That can be one of the aspects, but overall, the High Court judges, the quality of judgment is not that questionable, right? Now, if I go to Supreme Court right, uh, what we see in the Supreme Court, 98.5 to 99% of the Supreme Court judgment remain final, so they doesn't change. Only 1 to 1.5% of Supreme Court judgment are actually reversed, right? And that's an average, right, across all the benches. When I say, I mean, it's like almost all the benches. But recently, what we have seen, that number has been increased. So we have seen that from 2020 to 2025, we have seen that from 1.5% of reversal, we have seen it increased almost twofold, 2 to 3% of Supreme Court judgment by lower bench court reversed by higher bench court. So that we have seen, but still it is a healthy rate. Again, there's an interpretation of, because Supreme Court is a place where more cases which are constitutional in nature and which are statutory in nature comes, and there is probability a lot of interpretation uh, um, area which has to be considered, and that's why probably when it goes to the higher judge uh, benches, the probably that validity of the conviction get distributed, and there is a probability that it gets reversed when it goes to higher order, right? But I don't think so. There's a problem compared to the global standard. It's almost same in US. Federal court, the highest Supreme Court, there is similar kind of almost 2.5 to 2.8 percentage of reversal in federal court, the Supreme Court of US, right? Now, next, go to the second. So, what are the different kind of key findings and recommendation? What I have kind of come up with obviously from different legal expert. So, High Court remain the final court for most litigants. Supreme Court correction is selective. Obviously, the data suggests that reversal of Supreme Court usually reflects legal interpretation issue, not a factual error. So reversal of Supreme Court usually reflects legal interpretation issue, not factual error. So when a reversal happened for the High Court, from High Court to Supreme Court sees that the quality of judgment differs because of not due to factual error or pure quality error or the judgment error, but mostly because of the legal interpretation of, again, the constitutional laws, right? Because most many cases in High Court are actually challenged because of constitutional validity, right? That's the reason why we have that. Strengthening precedent discipline in High Courts can reduce reversal rate. Obviously, some training and some interpretation on the constitutional and statutory interpretation can actually improve the reversal rate in High Court. Improve case filtering. SDP, it's more of a administrative recommendation, where we often I will come to this in the next part when I decide when we discuss on the number of judges and all those things. So these SLP admission stage can reduce docket pressure. So sometimes docket pressure increase that reversal rate. Publication of structured outcome metadata by court could enhance transparency in research. So whatever courts, High Court, Supreme Court, whatever orders, digitally it can be indexed and verified, so that the trial courts and High Court can also take that into when they do the precedent study, right? When they do the precedent study and all those things, right? So digitization of metadata and indexation of case filing in Supreme Court and High Court will enhance both trial courts proceedings as well as the High Court proceeding. Now, going to the next problem, which is a pending court case across all courts, right? I was talking about this is a major problem. Now, if you see that total court cases currently, which is as of July 2025, is around 5.29 crores cases which are pending, open cases, where the district and subordinate courts have 4.65 crores, High Court 63.29 lakh, and Supreme Court 92,000 open cases, right? And and there was some data given by Rajya Sabha in the reply to Rajya Sabha from from the government, and this is what I have put, taken mostly from different database, and also the proceedings of the parliament. Now, how long a court case needs to be completed? So I'm trying to do a aging of different cases in India. We see that 24 of in less than a year, 24% of pending cases get uh, get uh, I mean, this is more of a pending case. So in year one, we see 24% of the pending case. In year two, it is 29%, right? And 3 to 5 bracket, we see 17% of court cases are being opened. 5 to 10, we see 20%. So one fifth of our court case, if I say, moves beyond 5 years. So 5 to 10, whatever, like 1/5 of the Indian court cases goes beyond 5 years. 20% of the cases, and more than 10% of the cases go beyond 10 years. So if I have to just give a simple data, this implies that 48% of our pending trial court cases have already been in the system more than 3 years. So we see almost 50% cases run for more than 3 years. To be put in a way, 50% of court cases runs beyond 3 years. And I will compare this with US data, right? How long court case needs to be completed? This post case duration first hearing, what this analysis was done by Daksh with 3 billion subordinate court cases, and what they predicted that there is a correlation between the first hearing and the days of disposal. What they have estimated that uh, there is a 63%, and the correlation is 63%. So there is a direct correlation. If you get a first hearing very quickly, the probability of closing the case quickly is very probable, right? It's highly probable that you will close the case very quickly. So the problem is getting the first hearing. So if we reduce the duration of the first hearing, then the probability of getting the case closed quickly is highly probable, right? So this is a very interesting study, and they have found that one of the area is the days to first hearing is to be addressed. Now coming to the US courts, right? Now coming to the US court, you see that federal courts and average duration. So in any federal courts, or which is the central courts, they complete the case almost by two years, right? US courts of appeal, so the other courts at the state level, we also complete by 24 months or 2 years. And Supreme Court of the United States complete the cases by 2 years. So in essence, average median, if I say average, any case in US is closed by 1 year, right? Maximum is 2 years, but median is 1 year. So means the probability of closing a case in 1 year is high. I mean, very high. So that's a very interesting data, which obviously, but in India it is like 50% is the median. So 50% cases are open. The median is 50%. So 5 years is the median, right, for India. So US median is 1 year. So getting average time to take a case closed in India is 5 years compared to 1 year in US. So that's what data is suggesting. How long court case needs to be completed in US court? So what we have seen is that this very important fact, and this I have put in the recommendation also, which was not mentioned in any of the recommendation, that why the uh, cases are being closed very quickly in US, because we have seen that 90 to 95% of civil cases are settled beyond the outside the court, like outside court settlement, and doesn't go for trial. So actually this is an outside court settlement, right, for civil cases. And criminal case, 97% of criminal case end in a plea bargain. So during the trial plea bargain. So I see that problem is not with Indian problem is just not with the people and number of all those things, but we have to develop the out of court settlement procedure. So I don't think so. In India, we have a very robust out of court settlement, which is there in US. So that if we can improve the out of court settlement procedure, I don't know whether there's any act for that, whether there is a mechanism or appellate for that, doing an outside court settlement, or it's just a personal between two parties. whether any constitutional body is there to enable that, I don't know in India. But I guess that if we promote that, that if the possibility of improve the outside court settlement, then the court cases obviously will have a larger. We will see a larger or faster closure of cases, right? That's what I felt. uh, how long court cases need to be completed in US? So this is the pending case, and again I will take that same approach. That if you see that almost 70% of the court cases are actually closed in 12 months. If you see, these are the pending cases. So if I add this, so 60 to 70% of the cases are closed within 1 year. So that's the median I was talking, that median of closing a case in US is 1 year, whereas India is 5 years. So, so this is what I mentioned. The 9 to 12 months is the 60 to 70% of court cases are completed within a year in US. So that's a astounding data, right? Or astounding uh, uh, data to have. Now, another problem we deal with is the number of judges in India, and I will just bring that to the notice that what is being sanctioned as far as the overall in the judiciary, but what is actually we have. Supreme Court sanction strength is 34. Obviously, we are having slightly less than that. High Court sanction strength is 1122 judges across 25 high courts. District and subordinate court sanction strength is 25741. So we should have 27,000 judges across all courts. But what we are having? We are having almost 21,000, right? So it's almost, I will say, close to 18% short, or more than 20% short. We are 20% short. So we need, so we are 20% short from the sanction judge strength. The sanction strength is 27,000. We are having around 20,000 plus. So we are short by almost 5,000, more than 5,000, almost 6,000. So this is significantly high, more than 20%, obviously. So, which obviously comes to the question, like, what is the judge to population ratio? What I found, that judge to population ratio in India is 15 judges per million people, which is actual, but sanction was 21 per million, 24. So the sanctions judge to population ratio is 21 per million people, but actually it is 15 judges per million people, right? And let's see what is in US, right? If you see US, they have around 30 to 32k, almost 30k judge, 30,000 judges, right? 30,000 judges. And if I have to compare the total population with the judge to population ratio, is coming around 150 judges per million. So we have 15 judges per million. They have 150 judges per million. So they are 10 times more judges compared to India. So it's a, by comparing with number of people or population, is better way to understand, like, what is obviously, like, where is the problem, right? Another important thing I missed, where I should show that, is how many court cases we generally get in India. Obviously, I shown you that it's almost five, if I'm not wrong, number of court cases in India uh, is 5.29 crores, right? And in whereas in which is 52, 53 million, and in US we have 66 million court case. So we have a population much bigger than US, but we are having lesser number of court case. So our court case number is 53 crores, right? Obviously not. No, this is not correct. So number of cases I have. Yeah, number of cases. Sorry, number of cases that is coming to in per year in India. So run rate number of cases filed in India is around 3.2 crores. If a monthly run rate and we multiply it by 12, we are getting around 2.7 to 3.2 crores, which is around 27 million to 32 million, right? Whereas number of court cases which are entering into US judicial system is around 66 million, almost three times, almost three times. Still, they're managing with that. And the majority problem is the out of court settlement. They're managing through out of court settlement and huge number of judges, right? 150 judges per million people, right? That's what I shown. Now, final recommendation for this problem, the number of court cases, pending court cases, and the judges, focus on police reform, better prosecution, standards and strengthening of trial courts. Judicial reform efforts must therefore focus on upstream process investigation, prosecution, and trial procedure, increase out of court settlement, increase number of courts across all types, right? We have to increase the number of courts as well as increase the number of judges. Almost increase the number of judges to sanction strength, that is 27,000 in India. Uh, if not, at least 40,000. So we have to target 40,000 judge across India, right? Including all the trial courts and high courts and Supreme Court. But if we cannot achieve that, at least go for the sanction strength, which is 27,000. So that's another thing. And also create a mechanism for out of court settlement. We have seen that out of court settlement in the US is around 92%, right? Training to trial court judges, interpretation of law, and high court interpretation of constitutional validity. So these are some of the area. So um, this is what I found, that obviously when I see there's a lot of reversal that is happening in summary across high court and also at trial court. Supreme Court is fine. So we need a lot of reforms in the trial courts, increase of judges in the trial courts. Similarly, creation of digitized metadata-based system so that trial court judges can refer to the High Court and Supreme Court judgments quickly. And at High Court, training should be given to the judges on related to statutory and constitutional validity of the laws, interpretation of that, and increase of the judges in the High Court. Also, if there is a possibility, I don't know. For example, Maharashtra, Calcutta, Madras, Allahabad, they get larger number of volumes of cases. So, is there a possibility to increase the number of courts in the High Court, right? Just not the number of judges, but also the number of courts, courtrooms, in more precise. Number of courtrooms we have to increase per at least triple the number of courtrooms in Calcutta, Allahabad, Madras, Bombay, High Court, because we have seen the maximum bottleneck is from there. So that's what obviously another recommendation we should have. At the Supreme Court level, probably we don't have any such recommendation. At least some degree of reversal we have to study and understand. I don't think so there is a problem, but we have to increase the number of judges in Supreme Court, because 90,000 pending case is quite high for Supreme Court, right? There is no quality of judgment from the High Court side and not the Supreme Court side, but there's a lot of quality of judgment that happened in the trial court. Not just not because they are not incompetent, but also because the sheer volume of court case comes to them, and also number of judges are less. But obviously there are a lot of incompetency, not incompetency, a lot of training has to be given to the trial courts for different kind of mostly the oral testimony is one area without corroboration. We found these are the bottleneck we found in the trial court, and this is a recommendation from the trial court side I have given. Over rely on oral testimony, so they over rely on oral testimony, not on actual evidence, or not on evidence based system, right? Ignore contradiction in prosecution witnesses. So they most of the time they ignore contradiction. They doesn't identify the contradiction between the witnesses. Accept confession or recoveries without legal safeguards. So that's another problem in the trial courts. We have failed to apply the benefit of doubt principally strictly. So benefit of doubt is not being used more comprehensively in the trial court. So that's another area. Ignoring mandatory procedures under CRPC or Evidence Act. So I talked about evidence problem, right? Oral testimony is given much priority than the evidence and all those things. So that's how I will put those recommendation at the trial court level. Hope to see you in the next episode. And thank you for watching. Good night.